Hello students, today we are going to learn adaptation, habitat, different habitat and how an organism gets adapted. Now you might be living in any condition, supposing warm or in very cold region, you adapt to it. Supposing you're in warm region, you wear cotton clothes, but the moment you go to some mountainous region, you buy warm clothes to keep you warm. So that's an adaptation. You're changing your structure to suit to that environment. Earth is very vast. All types of environment. In fact, 30% is land, 70% water. So that is also an environment. That's an habitat for many organisms. Every organism has to change according to the habitat. Has to adapt for the survival. Adapt for what? Food. You should get food to eat. So you have an adaptation to get the food. House, living, the abiotic factors should be conducive for reproduction. So another being can be raised and the continuity of the organism can be done. So now habitat, all the organism, earth is very vast, there are number of habitat, cold, very cold, warm, those abiotic factors, they affect the environment. So here habitat is what? A natural home of an organism and its immediate surrounding. Whatever you are living here, your immediate surrounding is your habitat. A frog is living, its immediate surrounding is the pond. Fish is living, immediate surrounding the pond, river, whatever. Water again can be classified into many different types. So habitat will have biotic and abiotic conditions. Abiotic environment can be divided into biotic and abiotic. So biotic is the living organism. Abiotic, that is the temperature, soil, atmosphere, moisture content, all those will form the abiotic condition for the organism. So habitat is the natural home of an organism and its immediate surrounding, and it will have various biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic is other living organism which will form biotic factors, and abiotic is soil, air, temperature, water, moisture, all these are abiotic factors. So this habitat you can divide, scientists have divided widely into this type. Aquatic means water. Aquatic, water. It might be sea, that is marine. In fact 70% is water, so it can be sea, that is marine animals. It can be fresh water, that is riverine water. Then in between river and marine there is a middle salinity water, so they can be divided into different types. But as usual, in general, the aquatic animals will be having an adaptation which is suitable to exist in water. So we'll see few organisms. Then terrestrial. Living on land is terrestrial. Those animals which are on the land anywhere, cold region, warm region, but on land, terrestrial. Any animal living on land is terrestrial. So terrestrial again you can divide into different. Will have different condition. Desert, it will be very hot. So the organism have to adapt to conserve water. And again during the night it will be very cold. So there will be extreme difference in the temperature in the desert. So any organism, whether plant or animal, they have to, like camel has adapted itself to the desert. We'll see further, but here they can be from desert, polar region, very cold region, mountain region, forest and grassland. There will be ample amount of water. Therefore there will be forest and grassland, and therefore the adaptation of the animals will be, plants and animals will be different. Then the aerial, living in the air. Birds, they fly in the air, so they will have a different adaptation. They'll have wings, the hollow bones, so that they can fly in the air. Then the plants will have their spores, which will be aerial, moving in the air. So that's the adaptation for the plant. So aerial plants and animal will have a different adaptation. Now let us see what type of adaptation this aquatic plants and animals have. Here you can see the picture of Vallisneria. Vallisneria is an aquatic plant. It will be there, normally you will see in the aquarium this Vallisneria plant. Here you can see the photograph of Vallisneria plant. Male and female both are different plants here. So male flowers will be floating and it will fertilize the female flower through water. So it has an adaptation that it will be the female flower will be floating erect in the water. The leaves are very broad so that they can catch the sunlight for photosynthesis. They are green in color actually, and they have to carry the photosynthesis. And they will be slightly in the soil. They did not have a very big root because water is freely available. They just have to suck the nutrient from the water plus soil and grow. So their adaptation is their roots are very thin, they are not very well developed. The leaves are broad, they can catch and very thin. They can catch, so that they can float and they catch the light and carry out the photosynthesis. And the female flower can be fertilized by the male flower which is floating in the water. Here you can see. So that's an adaptation of Vallisneria found in the aquarium. Now water lily and lotus. This looks like lotus, but this is water lily and lotus. They have similar adaptation. They are not completely submerged in water. They are their roots are in water, and lotus is normally found in swampy area where the roots are below, but their leaves will be coated with wax so that the water comes on the leaf, it will go down because it is coated with wax. It won't allow the water to remain on it. So here the leaves are very flat, wax coated, and therefore it can float in water. This is and the stems. Stem have air spaces because if it is very solid, it might have tendency to sink below. But since it is porous, it helps to float. It helps the plant to float in water. That's an adaptation of water lily, similar to lotus. This is what for plant. Then frog, it can live on land as well as water. Even the crocodile can live on land as well as water. Here the frog has got webbed feet so that it can swim in water and it can hop on land. So that's an adaptation. Frog, crocodile, they can live on land as well as water. So they have adapted to this type of environment. Now classic example of aquatic animal is fish. How has the fish adapted to the aquatic environment? The body is streamlined. See, when you go to swim, you have to make your body streamline and swim, go down first and then make your hand like fins and swim. So if this body of fish is streamlined, you can see it is streamlined, and it has got various fins. The one which are on the lateral side, lateral fins, ventral side, ventral fin, dorsal side, dorsal fin, tail side, tail fin, anal fin, every side it has got fins. Fins are for swimming. So it can swim in any direction because it's got many fins. Wherever it wants, it can swim with the help of fins. Fins are for swimming. So that's an adaptation for water. Living in water. Water is its habitat. It cannot live without water. If you bring fish out of water, it will die because it has adapted to live in water. It's an aquatic animal. Now, along with fins, what other adaptation it has done to survive. See, here you can see the body of the fish will be covered with scales, will be covered with scales, will be covered with scales. Now what is the use of this scale? Actually it protects the fishes from water entering into the body. Now it might be fresh water or it can be marine water. Means the water will be very salty, 35 parts per million. Therefore it will become very salty, and the fluid from inside might come out, and fresh water, the water might enter and it might swell. So the adaptation is fins, it is covered by fins. It does not allow water to enter because it is covered with scales. Then it does not have lungs to breathe. It has got gills. If you remove this structure, operculum, you will see the gills are present. Gills are like lungs. There are folds which are present. If you remove this operculum, there are folds which are present. Those are gills, and they carry out respiration with the help of gills. As air enters our lungs, the alveoli, they will catch the oxygen, take in the oxygen throughout the carbon dioxide. Here water will enter the operculum, and here oxygen dissolved in water will be taken by the gills and carbon dioxide will be thrown out. So this is the adaptation of fish living in water, which will carry out respiration with the help of gills. If you bring out of the water, it will die because it cannot exist on land. Now some fishes like whales. Whales are two big mammals. Their body is streamlined, and they have flippers. Their forelimbs modified into flippers. They flip, but they have to come out every moment to gulp in oxygen because they have lungs. So that's an adaptation for the whales. So we have seen all the adaptation, the fins, the scale, the gills, which is present in the fish. So now let us just revise what is adaptation. It's the development of any structure or function in an organism which makes it more efficient for survival in a particular environment. As you have seen, this modification of the fish, which can stay in the environment, they can breed in that environment, give rise to a young one, they get food in that environment. So that's an adaptation for their survival. They survive in this water environment. Now the adaptation of the desert, cold region and arid region. These animals also adapt according to the environment. So classic example of desert adaptation, camel. Camel is the ship of the desert. You learn right from the childhood. So what adaptation it has done to stay in the desert? Its foot are flat. It does not sink in the soil. The soil, dry soil, which in the desert where you might have if the hooves were pointed, it would have sunk inside, but the hooves are flat, so it does not sink in the soil. It has got very thin legs. Then there's a hump. Normally children, they tend to think it's a water bag. The hump is made up of fats, and they can go without food and water for many days. They may not get food because there are not many plants around, desert plants. So it might go without food. So where it will get energy from? It will get energy from hump, because hump stores fat. And they can increase the desert has got very high temperature. It can go to 45 degree to more. So camel will also increase the temperature, maybe 41 to 42, so it does not feel the need to perspire. Whenever we feel hot, we perspire and we cool our body, but these animals, they increase their temperature, so they do not require to perspire, and they can go without water for many days. So naturally their urine will be thick. Our urine is thin because we have ample amount of water we drink, we urinate, but their urine, they do not have sufficient water, so urine is thick. So that's an adaptation. And whenever there's no food, temperature is very high, they just breathe slowly, so they do not give out water. When we breathe, we give out water vapor, so they slowly breathe so that the water vapor is not given out during breathing. Then the excreta is very dry faces, because they suck the water from it. So what they excrete is only very dry faces. So that's an adaptation of a camel living in a desert. It can comfortably lead its life, and it also helps people living in this desert. So that's the ship of the desert. Now the plants also adapt. Normally the plant which you see in the grassland region, they are green, they are full of water, and they exist, they flourish. But the plants of the desert, what they do is they shed their leaves. The leaves are made into spine. This spine structure you can see, they are modified leaves. They are modified leaves. The spine, they will not throw water out during perspiration, and they will store water. Their stem becomes green. Thick and succulent stem becomes green. So they will carry out photosynthesis from the stem storage water, and then carry out photosynthesis. Stem will carry out photosynthesis. The leaves have become spine, so they are not going to throw out water. This is how they store water. And they have roots which are very deep, so that they can take in the water which is deeply deep. So they have very well developed thick roots. So this is the adaptation, and their stems are waxy, covered with wax. So no allowing of water to go out of the plants. So this is the adaptation of the plants living in the desert. Now we come to the mountainous cold region. Naturally the temperature on top of the mountains, Himalayas, it's very cold, covered with ice. So the animals living there, they have certain adaptation. Now it is very cold and windy. It is very cold and windy. The plants which are found in the cold region where there is ice, they developed into a cone-like structure. The leaves are also very thick and sloping, so that the snow which falls on it or rain falls on it just slopes down. So here you can see the examples here: pine, fir, cedar. These are the examples of the cold region, trees of the cold region. They are cone-like. Christmas tree is cone-like because it's a tree of the cold region. They are in cone shape, sloping branches, needle-like leaves. So it is not soft that it will rot in the ice, but it is hard, needle-like, and it is slanting like this. Whenever the snow falls, ice falls, it will just slope down. Now it will just slide. Animals here, you can see this goat. The animals here is very thick, furry, but it has to protect itself from the cold, so it has to be thick and furry so that it doesn't feel cold. It is warm and able to exist in the cold region. This is the mountainous goat. Now the animals living here, they have very hard hoofs because they have to climb the mountain. They have hard rocks, they have to climb on the hard rocks, so they have very hard hoofs. So this is the adaptation of the animals living in the cold region. Cold bear, penguins, they all are living in the cold region, polar region. Here these leaves, you can see they are spiny. Why? Because they have adapted themselves to be fit for the cold region. They did not allow themselves to rot in the ice, and they do not allow the ice to be on them. It just slides, it slopes down. So this is the adaptation of the animals and plants living in the cold region. Now we talk about the aerial adaptation. Some animals, they are aerial, they can fly in the air. So what adaptation they do to fly in the air? The birds, the classic examples, the birds, their body is streamlined and their neck and beak is in forward direction, body is in the backward direction. That helps them through streamline and fly easily. Then they have wings. The bones are hollow. If it had been dense, they would have come down, but it is hollow, so they are able to float in air. They have wings to fly, and the muscles are also very strong. Why? On the flight, when they are flying, the muscles have to be strong. They have to take in the pressure, and they can fly up in the air, and then they can come down. How? Because of the wings. They have their wings in such a way that they can come from this flight mode and steer. How you steer the car, the direction, same way the tail feathers are able to steer them down and reduce the speed and come to the floor. So wings are developed, flight muscles are developed, streamlined body, and the body surface is smooth so that the air pressure is minimized. Resistance to the pressure, air pressure is minimized due to the smooth body. This is how the adaptation of the aerial animal has taken place in the years, so they are fit to fly. Now animals, when you talk about plants, you might get confused that how. Here the wings of the forelimbs, this is for the birds, and steering and brakes, this is for the birds. Then few plants had adaptation for the flight, that is their seeds. Their seeds are fluffy, they have wings so that they can fly. Now some plants, if supposing the wings, the seeds do not go to other region, all will fall near the plants. All the seeds fall on the same place. All the plants will come out at the same place, and there will be competition for food, air, and sunlight. So they have to throw the seeds somewhere else. How they can disperse? It is by the wings. They can fly to some distant region, so that, and wherever the substratum is suitable, soil is present, sunlight is present, they can drop, they can germinate and grow into the new plant. So this examples here are cotton seeds and drumsticks seeds. You can see this photograph here. These are modified to be having aerial seeds. Please like, share and subscribe. And if you have any difficulty in this topic, or you want me to explain any topic, please let me know in the comment section. Okay, bye bye.